Starting on page 63, I would suggest Proverbs 24th chapter, 21st verse. And the old minister, with a calm gleam in his eyes, which Kit understood as John began to read, "My son, fear the Lord and the king, and meddle not with them that are given to change, for their calamity shall rise suddenly, and who knoweth the ruin of them both?" There was a harsh sound from Matthew, checked in response to his wife's pleading eye. John continued reading. As he read on, Kit forgot the meaning of the words and felt a stir of pleasure at the sound. John's voice was low-pitched, but very clear, and the words fell with a musical cadence that was a delight. Every evening since she had come here, she had sat waiting with impatience for her uncle's monotonous voice to cease. Tonight, for the first time, she caught the beauty of the ancient Hebrew verses. When the reading was finished, family and guests bowed their heads, and Reverend Bulkley began the evening prayer. A little sigh escaped Kit. Her uncle's terse petitions were hard enough to endure. This prayer, she knew, would be a lengthy masterpiece. As the husky voice scraped inexorably on, she ventured to raise her head a little, and was gratified to see that Judith, too, was speaking. But Judith's attention was not wandering. She was studying, with deliberate appraisal, John Holbrook's bent head and delicate chiseled line of profile against the firelight. A phrase of Dr. Bulkley's prayer caught Kit's attention again, and blessed our sister in her weakness and affliction. Whom did he mean? Heavens! Was he talking about Mercy? Had the man not perception at all? How Mercy must be shriveling at the fulsome words! After a few days in this household, Kit had ceased to be aware of Mercy's lameness. No one in the family had ever referred to it. Mercy certainly did not consider herself afflicted. She did a full day's work and more. Moreover, Kit had soon discovered that Mercy was the pivot about whom the whole household moved. She coaxed her father out of his bitter moods, upheld her timorous and anxious mother, gently restrained her rebellious sister, and had reached to draw an uncertain alien into the circle. Mercy weak? Why, the man could not even use his eyes. When the prayer was ended, the thanks repeated, and the good night said, Rachel saw her guest to the door. She held out her hand to John Holbrook. "I hope you will come again," she said kindly. "We would like to feel welcome in our house." John looked back to where Judith stood behind Mercy's chair. "Thank you, ma'am," he answered. "If I may, I would be happy to come again." As the heavy door finally closed, Matthew Wood turned fiercely toward his wife. "That is the last time," he pronounced, "that I will have Gresham Bulkley under my roof." "Very well, Matthew," sighed Rachel, "but do not be too hard on him. Gresham is a good man, just set in his ways." "He is a hypocrite and a switched sepulchre." Matthew's fist crashed down on the table. "And I'll have no more text read to me in my house." Wearily the woman set to work to clear the table, while Matthew raked up fire in the hearth. All at once he straightened up. "There is another matter I forgot," he said. "Young William Ashby asked permission today to pay his respects to my niece." A spoon chattered from Judith's finger. There was utter silence in the room as Rachel and both her daughters turned to stare at Kit. "You mean call on Catherine?" Aunt Rachel's voice was incredulous. That is what I said. But he has hardly seen her, only for a moment after meeting." She was conspicuous enough. Kit felt her cheeks growing hot. Judith opened her mouth to say something, glanced at her father, and closed it again. "I suppose we can hardly refuse," ventured Rachel. "He is a member of the society in good standing, and he has gone about it quite properly." "His father is another king's man," said his husband. "He proposed in council that we join with Massachusetts, but what can we expect now that we harbour a royalist under our roof? Bring a candle, Rachel."